festive friends. My name is Emmy and you are on the Zen with Emmy channel, and I'm real excited to be here with you today. I'm a CZT, which means Certified Zentangle Teacher. I've been teaching for a really long time and I do quite enjoy it. I'm glad that you made it today, and today we're continuing part 2 of our package toppers. So without further ado, if you can and if you have a chance, this is where we're going today. We're going to use yesterday's vertigo pattern, but I need some more of these nice little cards to put on the top of packages for my honeys and my loved ones. I'm grabbing all of these supplies, and if you have them, that's swell. If you don't, just use whatever you have. This is just your little 2.5 by 4 inch piece of paper. Any kind of paper will do, cardstock, whatever you have. And this is vertigo, which we did yesterday, but I will, again, I want to take the time to be sure to show you so you're comfortable with this. Pushing that all away. Any supplies will of course do. With vertigo, what I like to do is this, and we've done this before, let's do it again. I'm going to make a long stick, and then I'm going to come back on the long stick like an aura. After that, I'm going to go all the way down one side with a series of sticks. They're randomly placed for sure. Mine do seem to be at an angle. But again, that is your personal choice and preference. Time 2 that we go through this, I'm going to be turning my work just a little so that I can have some angle the other direction. And I'm going to run into a hollabaugh situation where I have to go behind. Now see how that made that little divot there? I quite like that. It seems to me that you will see, or we will see some of these indentations. If you look closely at a fir or an evergreen branch, you'll see those little divot things that are attached to the branch. Some of these will be wonky. They'll be going one direction and then the other, crossing over. You can see that I am just building. And you are welcome to build this as far as you want. Some of them will be thinner, some will be quite wide. It's just fun and very random. And at the very last step that we do, when indeed we're finished with this, is we'll put again, it's personal choice. We'll put a series of orbs. Wherever I have space, I like to squeeze them into a corner or wherever they might be, just like berries on a branch of certain evergreens. And then I like to darken them or add color to your choice. I've seen red, of course, I'm sure you have too. All I'm doing is leaving a little tiny area of light wherever it seems appropriate. Now, I would really fill this in a whole lot more, but for today and our purposes of just practice, that will be quite enough. So grab yourself your piece of paper, whatever you're using, and we'll start by making we want to start with our flower, of course, and then we will put our hollabaugh behind it. And I really feel like you can do this on the job. So put a bunch of orbs close together. This is going to be your centerpiece for your flower. Actually, it reminds me quite a lot of a poinsettia. I'm not sure it has a Zentangle name. If somebody happens to know what that might be, go ahead and shoot me an email or whatever on the Zen with Emmy channel or the Emmy's Zen Friends. That would be another way to do it. And then I'll go ahead and post that on this site. So oftentimes you will see these centerpieces. They're not going to be Mary Poppins. Nobody's going to look that closely. Get a little wider here for you. Okay, so I'm going to make a series of petals. I go out and in that giant S curve. Do it again. I'm going to try to start with a basis of 4. Just take your time, have fun with this. Push them out. Looks like maybe I'm going to have 5. Well, I think that's all right too. There is no right or wrong on such a thing. I'm going to aura each of these, and I'm going to aura either on the outside or the inside, depending on how much room I have. So I'm putting an aura down each petal. Now this is an embellishment. It's not something that you have to do. It's something that you might enjoy doing. But again, personal preference. And then I'm going to do another row once I've got these. So I'm going to have a row that goes behind, like this was. So I'm going to have a row that goes behind. And so I'm starting at about maybe, if I divided this into 1/3 and 2/3, it would be at about 1/3 out and maybe just a bit longer than these are, these petals. Best I can. You see, I'm pushing my pen just a little bit here. I want to aim for that. So at about 1/3 again, another S curve and another S curve. And then an aura. Very few things in nature are perfect, and I find that quite comforting. I hope you do too. So give yourself the grace that you're going to want to make a ton of these with your kids and your grandkids and yourself and anybody you like. That's the best part about Zentangle, is that it can be replicated. It is not very much like doodling in that way. You might get in trouble in school for doodling, but you really would have a hard time replicating what it was you did. Doesn't seem fair, does it? Okay, so that's how this one ended up today. Oh, I love it. I want to put some little sticks in here to create a bit of a fold. So I'm going to put a stick here and then a couple of little branches off each of these. You see, I'm working quite lightly with my pen. I'm not being heavy-handed at all, very light. Just get those little sticks, little folds in there. And let them fall where they do. That'll be the fun of it. So I'm gonna put a couple of vertigo, kind of like I did here, behind this flower. So I'm gonna come along from the corner, lift my pen all the way through and come out the other side. I would like to do this again. I'm going to have another one from this region. Lift again. And maybe that one will absolutely overlap in there. How pretty is this? You can certainly do another one. You might like the look of that where it comes out like that. And maybe a single branch, and there's still plenty of room for you to put your loved one's name, who it's to and who it's from, if you'd like. It's certainly a pretty present to give people. Now that I've got my first line, I'm going to aura each of these lines. So that I have a stem to start with. Since that was a double one, I wanted to be careful not to go right over it. If it had been a single line, it wouldn't have mattered. but a double line very much does matter. Okay, I've got plenty of room to work with, plenty of stems. Start one direction with your sweet vertigo pattern. Just get a few on here, just lay them on. Know this is your first row, and we'll be building on this, and I'm going to have to go behind, I can tell, which is very normal, isn't it? A lot of lifting my pen in this region for sure. You see, I'm being very casual about this. And when I've got that first row, I'm going to go back and start turning back and forth a bit more. Bending the evergreen boughs. Oop. Hope that didn't make you dizzy. Sorry. You can really have fun with this, I think. Some are longer, some shorties. Okay, if you think that's the way you'd like it, not that you can't keep adding more, go ahead and lay those balls in wherever you choose. As I mentioned, I like to leave a little white space. For a little bit of light. This is absolutely perfect, right as it is, but I can't help it, it being the holidays and all. I want to add a little color. I have a yellow pen, and I want to get a little yellow, as in this might be a poinsettia. You can kind of just see, I don't have to be careful to dot them just so on something like this. Depends on what your paper's made of, so maybe test it out on the back first before you try. And then I'm going to get going on a little tiny bit of color. I've got my green. I want a little bit of color on the stem. In order to do such a fine piece, I'm going to have to keep this very sharp. So hope you have your pencil sharpener. Go ahead and pause me if you need to sharpen. You see, I'm not putting them totally on there. I just want a little bit of a wash. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work with this, and it's a dark red, real dark. Every pencil you have has 3 colors. It has a very light, it has a very medium, and it has a lot of pigment on the very dark one. So keep that in mind, and we will use all 3, and I will also use my white because I want to blend these all in. So it doesn't matter if you're using prismas or whatever. Go ahead and lay some color on each of those petals. Just wash it. It's easiest if you can work in circle motion. And you see I'm just getting it on there. That light color, which is the lightest pigment. There we go. And then I'm going to go back with this same pencil, very sharp, and get some pink, some of the darker shade close to that middle and close to the fold. So I'm working pretty heavy-handed now. Going to end up being my shading today too. Now I could have laid my graphite on here first, and I've done that many times, and that would be fine as well. But this is kind of a small piece, which is why I'm just avoiding the graphite this time. And then I'm going to lay a little bit on the tip of each of these petals. Just a little bit there. Now, if you happen to have prismas, then you'll be able to use your white to blend these all in. And very likely you'll be able to anyway. So give it a go. Grab your white pencil and push the color around. I know it works well with the prismas. Might work a little differently with the other kinds. Ooh, so pretty. Beautiful, the way it just pushes the color around. Especially if you were able to grab onto some good paper, like cardstock, at least 60 weight would be ideal for something like this. And if you aren't happy with this, you can go over this as many times as you want. So get your red back out again, or experiment even with another red or pink. My goodness, this is pretty. I am pushing quite hard. Very, very sweet. My loved one is going to really like this on their package. I'm going to take a minute and initial it. But before I'm completely finished, I want to put that darling little border on that I put on here. It's very easy to do. It's just a very smallish orb and then a long stick. 3 orbs together. And another long stick. It just gives it a finished look. And it also replicates those little balls that we have in our vertigo pattern. Gosh, I hope you like this as much as I do. I ended up making a ton of these and using them even for my Christmas cards because they're so sweet. Well, I hope you enjoyed this and spending this time together. I know your holiday is busy, but I really appreciate your being here. And let me see. Well, what I'd like to say to you is Merry Christmas. And I hope you're having a wonderful holiday so far. And I hope to see you again next week for a special keepsake surprise. So, talk to you soon. Happy holidays. Bye.